Hi, I'm Jennifer Cody. Welcome back to From the Land to the Table. Today we are picking up where we left off last time with the black bean enchiladas. Today we're adding a green salad to that. It's a great thing to serve, light and refreshing, to go with just about anything, but especially with those enchiladas. Green salad with a raspberry vinaigrette. Last time we were making the enchiladas with some chicken stock in the sauce. Today I want to show you how to make it. It's really not that hard. So I just put a fryer in the iron pan, put it in the oven an hour or so at 375, and this one's been cooking. It's about ready to go. Okay, now something about this chicken, it's good to know. If you don't need it to look glamorous because you're not putting the bird on the table like at Thanksgiving, you can put the breast side down, and what happens is, on the other side of this, is the breast meat gets really juicy. Now, what I'm gonna do, because I'm such a wonderful mom, I'm gonna take the chicken off the bones, and I'm gonna save this chicken. You can actually use this in the enchiladas that we made the other time. You can use it in chicken salad, which I'm going to be showing you later on. And it's just really nice to have some of this chicken set aside. Throw it in a salad. Okay, so now we're going to do the stock. And I've got some stock right here, right now, that I've been brewing. This has been cooking all day long. And we're going to start with this. It's a pot with a bunch of chicken bones in it. You get all the flavor out of it. This is how you make stock. You can use that stock in the sauce that we used it in. You can use it in soups, of course. You can use it in sauces over a pasta. It just adds a real rich flavor to a lot of foods. So we're going to I used a pressure cooker. You don't have to use a pressure cooker, but this I prefer because this will keep all the heat and the flavors in, and you can leave it on real low all day long and it'll just do its thing. And if you don't know about pressure cookers, that's pressure. We are not going to just take the lid off right now because that can be dangerous. We're going to take it over to the sink. You can just let this cool off, but you can cool it off under some cold water. And okay, you're learning how to make stock, how to work with a pressure cooker. No more pressure. We're cool to open it. It doesn't have to be hard though. You can make this, you're basically just using all of your materials. You start with the chicken, you're not wasting it. You don't want to mess with the bones, but you don't just throw them out. There's still a lot of flavor in there. What I do is I usually save up a bag of bones every time I bone chicken. Just save it up in the freezer until you've got a whole pot full. Today, well, I had a smaller amount. But, okay, this is good stuff. This is stock. It doesn't look like it's got a lot of fat right now, but we're going to put this in the refrigerator, and what happens is the fat turns into like butter. It's hard, and you just take that layer of fat off the top of the stock. If you thought you didn't like making stock because you made it and put it into some soup and got a stomach ache, well, maybe because you need to get that fat off of there. It's just too much. So we're going to refrigerate this. And that's not all. You refrigerate it, get the fat off of it, and then you just grab a container, like I use that little pint container, and put up some of your stock in the freezer, and it keeps for months. And you can make all kinds of foods out of it in a jiffy. Just microwave it, and you've got it there, homemade. You didn't waste your, resources. You used them. And you didn't have to buy some stock. I'm not saying you can't just buy some stock, and I'm not going to tell on you if you do, but if you want to make everything, down home, style, from scratch, you can do this. And that chicken stock is going to add a lot of flavor to so many things. Make a pasta, you want to add a sauce to the pasta. You can take flour, olive oil, and chicken stock, maybe a little other seasonings to it, and you've got a great sauce. You can use it in soups, and it just makes the soup richer and a little more meat to it. And you can use it like we did for the enchiladas with the red sauce. So many recipes call for chicken stock just to give extra flavor in place of another liquid like water. That's not going to add any more flavor, but the chicken stock will. Okay, so basically we're not letting any of the flavor go to waste. A lot of the juices already came out of this, and I'm going to add that to my stock bowl because this I know has a lot of fat in it. You can see it, but it's just loaded with flavor. So this is like instant stock. Roast a chicken, save the juices from it, and it's going to be good. But now this definitely needs refrigerating. The oil's going to rise to the top. It's going to get hard. We're going to take that right off of there. And meanwhile, we can do something with the chicken. We're going to pull that off of the bone. And, you know, for the enchiladas we just made them vegetarian style, but you could add chicken to it. A lot of people just don't want to mess with this, and I don't blame them. I just get it over with, bone the whole chicken, and I put chunks of it. This is really good meat too. Put chunks of it aside because I can use this for another meal. Probably pasta. I might just break up some big chunks of this into a like chicken paprikash. That's another favorite of mine. Now, I don't mean to intimidate you because you do not have to make chicken stock. I'm just giving you a few pointers here. If you want to step up your skills, you can learn how to make this. And right now, I'm going to put the chicken bones, after I boned the chicken, I don't need this for anything else, but for chicken stock it'll be good. I'm putting it into some boiling water, and I'm just gonna dump these in and start this process one more time. This is how I started to get the original chicken stock. This needs to cook now for all day. In this case, maybe all evening. I'm gonna put the lid back on, and we'll move on from here because I want to show you a few more things. Ooh. Okay, now what I have here, I'm going to show you more things to do with chicken that looks like this on another show. But for now, we're just going to wrap this up. I just want you to know it can be pretty easy. I mean, this is easy. I'm going to actually wrap it one more time. And I can store this now in the refrigerator. I could even put it in the freezer. It depends on if I know what I'm cooking tomorrow or not. Put this away for now. We'll get back to that. We're done with chicken stock. You can attempt it, or you can skip that. You can make that red sauce with water. It'll still be good. I'm on a hidden little shoreline here, and there's a lot of neat stuff you can just uncover just walking by. There's a barge here, and I mean, this is a big chain here that ships and boats might be tied to this, and it would keep them from floating off into sea. You know, it just makes me wonder, you know, are we tied to something stable? I mean, it's great when you've got Jesus for a foundation because he's stable, but, you know, I used to go off and, you know, the whims or the latest trends that the world might offer, and I would be floating along, totally offshore, totally off base usually, and yet when you're, you know, anchored to something solid like the Lord, it's just so safe. You can be who you are. you can enjoy the life that, God gave you, and you don't get distracted by all these things of the world that try to pull us away from the truth. Okay, well, now this is kind of wild. This rock, it looks like something that the Indians might have put dried corn in there and like a mortar and pestle, just ground the corn up. We take the corn tortillas for granted, but in the old days, that's what they would do. And again, something that's really hard, this dried corn, and it gets ground up and gets turned into this tortilla. Sometimes we might feel like we're getting ground up. And, sometimes it might be God just turning us into something usable, something better than we were before. Here's something, an excellent salad, good for you, healthy, and so easy, and also economical. We're talking simple here. Simple ingredients for a simple salad. But it doesn't look that simple in the end. It actually looks pretty exciting. Like I said, it's going to have the raspberry vinaigrette on it. And I personally don't want to buy the already made vinaigrette. I've looked at the labels. I don't like all of the ingredients, and especially when I know I can make it from scratch so easily. And okay, maybe you don't have time today, but all you need to do really, step one, take your olive oil, coat the leaves. See, you're not even getting a blender dirty. I like this. Sometimes I don't have time to clean up the blender. I'm often running to something else at night. So you toss your leaves in the olive oil. And my dad took our family out when I was little to a nice Italian restaurant where the chef came out and he tossed the salad. And my dad, he's an engineer, he was very impressed and he asked for details. What are you doing? And the chef explained to him, you add the olive oil to it to coat the leaves so that whatever else you put on there is going to stick and get all that flavor. Otherwise, you pour dressing on and half of it slides off. But this is a great way to start a salad. I'm kind of a purist sometimes, and I just feel like if I'm paying for raspberry vinegar, I want raspberry, real raspberry in it. So what I did, I experimented with this and it works out pretty well. I got a bag of frozen raspberries and I brewed up some raspberry vinegar for myself. Okay, this was raspberries. I just took them out of the freezer. I put them right in this container. It worked. Just let them thaw. I mashed them up, and then I added, that was about a cup, about half a container. I added a cup of vinegar, and I also added just a little maple syrup. There we go. This was custom ingredients. The vinegar, the maple syrup, about 2 tablespoons of that, into the fresh, frozen, mashed raspberries, shook it up. I can smell it now. It's just really, really fragrant and very raspberry-y. You could actually thin this out with another bottle of vinegar and it'll go a long way, but I'm just going to sprinkle some of that on top of this salad. And now if you want, you can strain it. I just personally don't mind having a few seeds in mine, and maybe just a little more, and that's good. Now another thing that clings to the leaves better after you've got that oil on, you can sprinkle a little salt on. You're basically making your salad dressing as you go, instead of having it all mixed up in a bottle, but it's good. The other thing I thought I'd add to this, because it's kind of a Mexican theme, we're going to throw something more colorful on there. The papaya is, culturally correct here. We'll put some of this on the salad. It'll go real nice with the enchiladas. Now, this papaya is not your average grocery store pear-shaped, really expensive papaya. This is a Mexican papaya, and it's priced right. It's a little less pricey than the other variety. And you just take your seeds out and take your skin off of that. We'll just take that off of there. And this is just going to add a lot of color and not a lot of flavor. It's just looks good. It does taste good, but you know, there are people that go, ooh, I don't like papaya, but I find that they usually eat this because it really does look good, and the flavor goes with the rest of it. So we're just going to dice this up really fine, and it'll just make it look kind of cool. Okay. And that chicken stock is brewing. Okay, so we're just dicing this salad up. Just fine little diced bits. And we are going to put some of that on the plate with a little bit of the papaya on top. And what I've done, actually, I add a little more of the raspberry stuff to this. And it just adds a little more flavor. And make this, it looks great. I mean, even if you say, I don't know about papaya, well, it's so good. There, it's beautiful. Okay, and I'm gonna have to try this. All right, this is a great salad to go along with enchiladas. It's just so light. And it's going to look colorful. It's going to be healthy. It's going to be easy. What's not to like? We're going to take away from the show just a little bit here, and I'll take you shopping with me. We'll look for some good stuff. One of the things about shopping for all my supplies, I get a day like a Saturday that's open for me, and I get a lot of my supplies. I just went to the health food store and got some of my bulk grains and nuts and stuff. And right now we're at the farmer's market, and one of the big things is to just find a place that you know has a good reputation, where you've gotten stuff before and it's good. If I go to the grocery store, I like to be sure I know that a certain thing is good quality and a good price. And I've been checking out the stuff here today at Pinole's Farmer's Market. I'm going to get some of the things for the cooking show and let you see what we're going to use, our raw materials. Okay, we're just going to pick out a few of these good-looking red potatoes. Like I said, they're nice because you don't have to peel them. The skin is real thin on them, and when you're in a hurry, sometimes that's a good thing. And they're real pretty, so we're going to grab a few of those. All right, these look great. Let's see, I think I'll get a little extra to have on hand. And these are just fresh looking. They're really firm. They're not dried out. They're not soft. Otherwise, they've been there too long. You can tell this stuff is good. We're going to grab a few red peppers too. This will come in handy for the other recipe. And I saw some good-looking red peppers over there. These are pretty nice, but I'm looking for some redder ones. We need some broccoli. We'll get some of this. And this is great. This is a treat. It's organic. You can't always find that at the grocery store. They're getting a little better about it, but here I've got a lot bigger choices. Good broccoli. Again, it's so fresh. It hasn't even been sprayed with water, you know, like they have to at the store, but it's still fresh. It's firm. It's not kind of wimpy, so you know it's going to keep too. If you get it for the week, it's going to still be good next, you know, Friday. So I'm just going to pick these up. I'm going to get this. This is a great time of year because you don't always have the raspberries. We're going to get some of these. These look good. There's a lot of dark ones in there. We're going to make the raspberry vinegar out of this. And I might even use it on some dessert too. Hey, we're going to pick up that. And is this from your stand, all of it? Oh, okay. Well, I'll pay for that.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I'll grab some cilantro too. This comes in handy. This is really good with any of those, Mexican dishes you might make. It's really fresh. Gives it a little different flavor. It's a great garnish. So I put it in omelets and all kinds of stuff. Like I said before, it can get a little grainy, so I usually rinse some of these things, as soon as I get them, and then they have time to dry off. I'll wrap it in a paper towel. Anyway, I'll get this stuff here.
$11.
Alrighty. Some of these things I kind of go by looks.
$14.
Like I said, thank you, sir. If you know the, if you know the reputation of the place, then you won't generally be surprised. Sometimes something looks good, and I've gotten it at the grocery store, and yet it lasts like a few days and it starts rotting in my refrigerator. I really don't want to have to shop every day or every 2 days. So I go to places where I know when I've gotten something, it lasts. And of course the farmer's market, it just does not get much fresher than that. Some places, like we have the privilege right now of having a farmer's market that's open all year round. You don't always have that privilege, but there's places to go where you can find good stuff. We're gonna grab some peppers over here. Okay, well, right now I'm in my garden, and I just thought it would help, cut away from that recipe again and take a look at, what is an organic garden? What does all this mean? I've actually just been picking up some of the smaller apples that have fallen off the tree, and we've got a good crop of big ones. I've got this whole batch here, and there's more to come. I've got a load of it. I'm going to have to get my dehydrator out and dry some of the apples. I'll make some apple pies, and these are great as applesauce. I just microwave them and don't even add sugar. And but this is like a lot of good organic food right there. I'm going to have to give some to my friends. It just happens you get these big crops of stuff. My friends are giving me their stuff, and it's great. You just share. Anyway, this whole this is my kind of lazy man's compost pile right here. Right now it looks kind of dried out and what's going on here, but the rainy season's coming, and this stuff's going to get all soggy and start decomposing, and by spring it is so cool. I start digging through this, and this pile will be transformed. And there's all this talk about organic, and you start feeling guilty. Maybe I should be getting organic stuff. Well, it's really about getting back to the way, this is the way God intended it. This natural way. He gave us everything we needed to be able to feed ourselves healthy foods and stay healthy. And then we go and mess with it with these man-made things that deteriorate our health. And then we go, what's happening? And then we make more drugs to make us better. But it's like, if we just start here, and I sometimes forget how important this whole health and nutrition and organic thing is. But I come back out into my garden, and I mean, this is great. I'll show you some of this stuff here. This is where I get my rosemary. Almost anybody could plant this stuff. I'm never going to be short on some rosemary here. I've got this stuff growing like crazy. Some things will grow better for you than others, and that's why it's good to have friends. You can share. And I got the sunflowers over here, and I've got these the cabbages. This stuff is great to, and it's growing really nicely. And in this little organic space here that I've got, I basically just let all of the leaves and the weeds and all that pile up in one pile, and I turn it every now and then, and it's amazing. I've shown kids this, and they're just, what? This turns into this? And you know, we should be amazed too as adults that this natural thing is like a miracle, that everything gets turned back into this great soil that turns into these great vegetables. I've got these basils. This basil's crazy over here. I'll be making some pesto with this one here. I don't hardly water this stuff that much, but it grows really healthy as you know, in an organic garden. And you can't really cheat. You can't go and you can't use the synthetic fertilizers because the healthy bugs don't like it, but it's great. Okay, I'm actually gonna, this was an old sunflower. This one didn't do quite as well, but it's still got some seeds in it. And you know, next year it might actually sprout up some new. I'm throwing it in the compost pile. I basically get all this stuff up into one big pile, and it's going to deteriorate in time, and it's so much like us. You know, we can look like that sunflower and just stripped of life, because what's feeding us? Is it the artificial stuff of this world, you know, that doesn't really give us any nutrition? Or is it, you know, the good stuff that comes from God? It's like, man, you put the good stuff that came from this earth back into the soil, and it nourishes the plants. And I mean, you can't tell right now that this is going to become good black dark soil that's going to support new growth. And I mean, isn't that what we want for ourselves, is to be alive and fresh with new life and to be nourished? I mean, everybody's trying to get nourished, but God provides all that. You know, Jesus had his all kinds of analogies, but one story about the seeds that fall on, you know, different soils. I mean, are you the artificial soil, the rocky soil that can't hold the Word of God because it's so inundated with the artificial stuff that it just squeezes and chokes out the Word of God? You know, the weeds of life, the worries, the pains. Jesus mentioned the rocky stuff, you know, the hard-heartedness. Oh, this can't work, you know, or whatever. It does work, to just make our soil good and receptive to God's words, because He gives us all of these great tools for living, and He's provided everything. We go off and we make our artificial fertilizers, and it cannot compare to a compost pile. All right, there you have it. An enchilada with black beans and a green salad with raspberry vinaigrette, a little papaya garnishing it on top. And I've got my chicken stock cooking for next time around. If you need any of these recipes, go to the website fromthelandtothetable.com. Thanks for watching From the Land to the Table. I'm Jennifer Cody.